With Canelo Alvarez coming away with a win over Jermell Charlo, pros are already putting their predictions in for a possible fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Bob Arum thinks that there's only one direction that fight would go, and he thinks that Canelo would hold his own just fine. Bob stated, "I think Canelo wipes the floor with him. I love Crawford. I told you with Crawford and Spence that Crawford would beat the hell out of him, but Canelo is a different proposition. It's an interesting fight, but I think there's only one winner. Canelo is used to fighting at a particular level, and I don't think that Terence can hurt Canelo, but Canelo can hurt Terence." Eddie Hearn had trouble choosing between the fighters as they're both some of his favorite fighters, and he stated, "If you're going to ask me about the Terence Crawford question, you're talking about two of my favorite fighters, two modern-day greats. I do think Canelo Alvarez is too big for Terence Crawford, as good as Terence Crawford is. In my opinion, you will never see Canelo come under 168 in a fight. I don't think he wants to do that. 168 is still a little bit, not tough, but it's enough. So I don't think you see Crawford come up to 168, and I think if he does, I don't think he beats Canelo. So I'm not sure whether that fight happens, but if it does, two great fighters, and I'll favor Alvarez." Shakur Stevenson couldn't be hyping this fight any more than he already is, and he thinks that Terence would do great.
I think Bud could beat Canelo. Like I said, I've been saying this. I don't think size win fights. I think skills do. So yeah, I think like being a southpaw with good movement and sharp boxing, it'd be hard for Canelo with that high guard to walk him down and load up on them big hooks. I think Bud would beat Canelo.
Amir Khan has fought both men at one point, and he doesn't think that anyone is going to beat Canelo. Amir stated, "I don't think anyone is beating Canelo. There are rumors I'm hearing about Crawford moving up to 168 to fight Canelo. I like both guys, and I just think that Crawford should not give that much weight away. I've done it myself when I was at the peak of my career. Had a great win against Devin Alexander, then went and fought Canelo. You can't do it." Antonio Tarver believes that Terence Crawford would be a much more competitive fight than Jermell Charlo ended up being for Canelo. Antonio stated, "I think it's going to be a much better fight, and it's going to be more competitive, and I think that outcome is up for grabs. It depends on if Canelo's size has the same effect that it affected Charlo that it would affect Bud that way. But I think Bud is a different animal, a different beast. So I'll be interested in seeing pound for pound versus pound for pound. I definitely would." Roy Jones Jr. isn't against seeing Terence fight Canelo, but he'd rather see Terence fight Jermell Charlo first. Roy stated, "So I'd prefer to see Jermell Charlo fight Crawford first and then see how that goes. If he does good against Charlo with the weight, then let's see him come up and fight Canelo, but not right now. I want to see Crawford come up some weight class and show that he can be dominant at 154. Crawford is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters fighting, so it would be tough. But right now, that's going to be a tough fight for both fighters, so we gotta see how Crawford carries the weight." Jim Lampley likes the idea of the two fighters meeting in the ring, but he thinks that Terence should try to meet him in the middle instead of climbing all the way up. Jim stated, "There's a 21-pound gap between Crawford and Canelo, but I think if they could make a deal, find a catch weight 154, 157, 160, somewhere between 147 and 168, the world would love to see the fight between the ultra-violent Canelo Alvarez and the ultra-violent Terence Crawford. That's potentially a great fight." Oscar De La Hoya thinks that Crawford would handle Canelo easily. Oscar stated, "Terence Crawford will beat Canelo anytime. I said before, the big, talented man will always beat the small, talented fighter. But Terence Crawford is not small. Terence Crawford is a big guy. He can walk around at 168 if he wants to. If this fight is made at 164, Terence Crawford all day. Based on skill set alone, Terence Crawford is a master, and he will make Canelo look like a child. That's just my boxing experience. Do I want Canelo to win? Yes. But from an expert fighter's view, Crawford will beat him in a master class any day." Dmitry Bivol definitely thinks that Terence Crawford is the most complete fighter out there, and he said so before Terence handled Errol Spence. Dmitry posted, "I would say Crawford is the favorite because of his speed, movement, and reflexes. Spence is the bigger guy in the ring and also has great ring IQ, but in my opinion, Crawford is the most complete fighter of all right now. Joe Rogan couldn't believe that Terence was really open to moving up to 168 though.
You said 68, but you mean 54, right?
No, 68.
You want to go up to 68. So who would you fight at 68? Canelo?
If he win, or Charlo, the winner.
Wow. That would be crazy.
I want to be 3-time undisputed.
So your goal was to go up and become undisputed in 3 different weight classes.
There you go.
Wow.
Something that never been done before.
Right.
I always said, man, that's a big step. That's a big step, but for a person to go up 3 weight classes from 147 to 168 and to win, and become undisputed, wow. What can they say? They can't say nothing right now, but what can they say? What would they say though? 3-time undisputed champion and the smaller fighter that went up 3 weight divisions to conquer one of the baddest men.
Claressa Shields definitely thinks that Canelo did a fantastic job against Jermell Charlo, but she still has Terence Crawford as her pound-for-pound top fighter. Claressa stated, "We cannot overlook what Terence Crawford did against Errol Spence. Until I see somebody go out there with the skill set and mindset of his, I think that he will be #1 for me." Steven Espinoza definitely thinks that the fight is doable, and he knows that the fans are clamoring for this fight to be made. Steven stated, "There was a lot of chatter around it initially. Terence said, 'Hey, a catch weight.' Canelo said, 'No, I'm not going to. He's too small. Why would I go down?' But then they both cleared it up, and I think it's because of the magnitude of the opportunity. Clearly, fans are interested. I think it's a huge financial opportunity for them, so I think if the fans want it, if the fight makes sense, then I think it's very doable. It's really up to Canelo where he wants to go after this." At one point, Canelo Alvarez was open to the idea of fighting Terence at 168.
You never know. You never know in boxing.
Absolutely.
I'll go up and down and fight everybody out there. So it's possible. Why not? It's possible.
After his fight against Jermell, Canelo doesn't think that Terence is in the immediate plan now, but he definitely thinks that he's back to his former glory. Canelo stated, "I always say that if the fight makes sense, then why not? But he's not in the plan. If it makes sense, maybe. I don't know right now. I just want to enjoy this fight now, and then you'll know what's next. I'll sit down with Al Heyman, the rest of the team, and decide my future, but nothing is decided yet. I think this is Canelo. I'm back. Finally, I'm back. I feel confident right now. I feel great, and I'm so happy because I didn't feel like this for a long time, but now I'm back." This goes along with what Sean Porter believed, since he didn't think that fans were going to get this fight anytime soon.
But all that being said, we not getting no Canelo versus Terence Crawford. Here's what's bad.
Amazing.
Here's what's bad. It's bad that Canelo versus Bud Crawford, I think, makes more money than Canelo versus Benavidez. Of course. I think.
Of course.
Don't make sense. I think you're gonna have to do some strategic promoting to get Benavidez and Canelo to make, the kind of money I think it instantly makes with Bud Crawford.
Terence definitely thinks that this is the biggest fight to be made in boxing though, and he still wants it to be set up. Terence stated, "Canelo versus Crawford is the biggest fight in boxing. There's no fighter out there that's a bigger fight than us." If Canelo isn't going to fight Terence, Jermell Charlo is definitely open to the idea though. Jermell stated, "I guess the winner of him and Brian Mendoza or whoever I gotta fight. I'm down to fight whoever I want to fight Terence Crawford. That. I could fight Terence Crawford in my weight division. I know he's somewhere around this joint. I'll fight Terence Crawford. Let me fight Errol Spence and get that out of the way. I'm about to get right back in training. Don't worry about it." If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.